What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. Man, I'm in such a good mood right now because we're going to be talking all about the past and how specifically you can utilize your story, your past, all the stress, all the drama, all the negativity, all the hurt that you went through. You're going to find out ways in today's episode on how to uncover that, dig a little bit deeper, but most importantly, utilizing that past pain for more of a greater success in your future. Whether you're, trying to burn body fat, whether you're trying to have more confidence, whether you're trying to lead better by example, it doesn't matter at all. Hear me out. Everybody has a past. I got a past, right? Like you got a past. We can connect on that level, right? Let's utilize our past as okay, this is an experience that happened to us. How do we mold our story differently to get a more positive outcome in the end, but also, right, dive a little bit deeper into really making sure that those around us, specifically our kids, our family members that's following through in our footsteps, they could hear and understand our past story, our past pain. So that way they know, okay, hey, daddy did this. Daddy struggled with this. Let's not go down that route, right? And trust me, you want to make sure that you stay to the very end of this episode because I'm going to say something here at the very end that's probably going to trigger a lot of you guys that's tuning in. And at the end of the day, I'm really happy that I'm able to do that, right? Like it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to push you. It's going to challenge you. But at the end of the day, I'll always say it like this. Me and my team, we're not cheerleaders. We're not yes men. We're never going to tell you what you want to hear. We're coaches, right? And we're always going to tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes you need a coach in your corner that can see the fullest potential in you because maybe you don't see it. I mean, let's face the facts here. If you're, let's say, over 30% body fat, low levels of testosterone, right? The dad bod, right? Maybe, I don't know, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. You've been struggling with this health and fitness journey of, for years, right? 5, 10, 15 plus years. Well, at the end of the day, you have very little willpower. Trust me. So maybe by me saying something that triggers you, it's going to help you start taking immediate action, inspired action, and to just start to prioritize your health a little bit more. That's it, right? That's my job. Take it or leave it. If you don't like that, then tune off, right? Like nobody's going to force you. No one's going to hold a gun to your head and say, hey, you have to listen to this episode. No. But I bet you anything, I might say a few things in here that really start flipping these switches in your head mentally where you can see like, man, I got some inspiration. I got some motivation. Joe's absolutely right. I can utilize my past for a better, successful future. Most importantly, not just for me, but for my family members. So with that being said, let's dive in. So one of the biggest tips that I want to give with you guys has a lot to do with yesterday's episode where we talked all about how to build unshakable confidence. And one of the biggest tips that I went into on how to build unshakable confidence is simply diving in headfirst to your insecurities. A lot of people are timid and scared, right? They hate to admit like their flaws. I admit it all the time, right? Like I got chicken legs, right? When I was in middle school, I got picked on and people made fun of me because I was fat and out of shape. They called me chunky when they give me these little candy bars that say chunky on it. I cared way too much about the approval of others. Plus, I was emotionally and mentally weak growing up to where in terms when I got into a very serious relationship, and granted it was a toxic relationship, when things went sour and we ended up splitting and going our separate ways, that led me to becoming very depressing and almost having suicidal thoughts. So understand that, right? Like I'm diving in head first to my insecurities. I'm always going to tell everybody what my insecurities are. And at the end of the day, I'm going to utilize my insecurities as strength. And that's what I really want you guys to do. Man up, level up, right? Understand that like it's okay to have emotions as a man. Like it's what's going to make you a lot stronger in the end. So you have a story. I have a story. How do we put a little flipping of the switch on things to make sure that in the outcome, it always comes through with everything in our favor, right? A more positive outlook to a negative past. And one of the tips that I want to give you to really help with, figuring out your pain and really pushing yourself to greatness is to understand, and I've already said it before, everybody's facing battles. Everybody has their own lives. Everybody is just literally writing away at their own story. Okay. You're going through some great times in your life and some not great times in your life. I'm going through some great times in my life and some not so great times in my life. That's life, right? Like, let's not try to avoid it and look for this outlet where it's always going to be positive, woo woo, rah rah, cheerleader success. Like, no. At the end of the day, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? Billionaire, like millions and millions of followers, right? One of the best successful like movie actors out there. Guess what? You think there's times where he doesn't feel like waking up? You think there's times where he doesn't feel like showing up? You think there's times where he also has stress and drama going on in his life? He does. These guys that you see out there, they are no different from you. But what they do differently is change the outcome. And that's the tip that I want to give for you guys today's episode on how to really make sure that you can utilize your past pain to push you to greatness. Mike Berry, I see that you're tuning in on Facebook Live right now, brother. I appreciate you. You got a past, right? Mike Berry, for anybody that's tuning in, right? I shared this probably, I don't know, the last 8 episodes. I always say the same thing, right? He, in 7 weeks of coaching, Mike Berry, reverses his type 2 diabetes, gets off of his blood pressure, gets off of his cholesterol medications. Okay. But like, here's the thing. Mike can simply utilize his past to maybe helping out one of his friends or maybe one of his family members who, let's say, was also struggling with his health. To where at the end, when I say what I'm about to say, that's really going to trigger you guys, everybody can kind of put themselves in their shoes, right? And like I said, stay tuned to the end. There's going to be some people that's going to get pissed off and some people that's going to wake up, right? And there might be 100, people that's listening to this that, let's say, they get really, really pissed off, but there might be one person out there that wakes up. And that one person out there wakes up and decides to make a change. And then next thing you know, like, their kids are following through with better habits, right? Their kids aren't getting picked on so much in school for being, overweight and unhealthy because they're following through in daddy's habits. Guess what? That's why I'm here today, to change one person's life. That's why I do this every single day, honestly. It's not about everybody that's trying to tune in and trying to get, publicity and, get this thing on and popping and become really big. No. At the end of the day, we're not promised tomorrow. So I know for a fact there might be one person here that might be tuning in for the first time or maybe tuning in as a loyal, subscriber to the podcast episodes, and I say something today that triggers them and they start taking action. That's why I'm here, to inspire you guys, plain and simple. So what is this one thing that's really going to help you guys change your past, okay, for a better, more successful future? A future that's full of greatness, honestly. And before we dive right into that, trust me, we will. I want to share with you a little story. Now, this is huge, okay? And this is going to go right into what we're talking about today. So yesterday we did a weekly Zoom chat, okay? Basically, long story short, if you're a Heartletics, member, you've signed up for our coaching services. Every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we hop on these Zoom chats. It's a lot of fun in there. It's just me, Mark usually, some of the other coaches, a bunch of guys, and we just talk, right? We just have a great time, and it's so much value. It's always diving in deep into the, the weeds and the mindset, because that's what's truly going to change and transform somebody's life. Like Bill's also on there. He's a brand new, member, just started, his 12-week transformation program like this past Monday. He's asking about like nutritional tips, a lot of the tips that we were giving him, like, yeah, it's simple stuff, but everybody said something to make sure that it's like, hey, we're doing this for this reason. And it's giving that knowledge aspect, that wisdom aspect, but also that mindset shift to realize like, okay, so I don't need to do it just by the books. This person's doing it like this person's doing it over here. And this is the value, honestly, of community, that you can see that it's not a one size fits all with anything. It's coaching. How can we teach you sustainable habits for your lifestyle, plain and simple? So on top of the, weekly personalized workouts and weekly personalized, check-ins and meal plans, we also do, these Zoom chats. And Alan, he also just got started off also. Now, here's the thing, okay? I remember I did my discovery call with Alan. I was actually traveling and I was in Colorado. And if Alan ever listens to this, he's going to contest to this. I was freezing my butt off, and we had a bunch of people because we're in Colorado for our cousin's wedding, and I had to do it outside. And I'm like in my hoodie, like shaking like a leaf, like writing down notes about his goals, everything like that. It was pretty funny actually. But what Alan shared with me on our discovery call was like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like I'm a very straightforward guy to the point. Okay. Like you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it, but I'm not outgoing, if that makes sense. I know you guys talk so much about community and, this amazing brotherhood, right? That's inside of the Heartletics coaching program. But I'm going to be honest with you. Like at the end of the day, like, I, just tell me what to do. I'm going to get results, right? So Alan gets signed up, he gets on the app. And when somebody gets signed up and they go through the discovery process and they're qualified, right? So we send them over an onboarding email. And inside that onboarding email has like their personalized meal plan form to fill out, disclaimer form, but also a nice little video that kind of goes over like, hey, here's the cheat codes to have success early on in the coaching program. And then you download the app. When you log in for the first time, right? You see that, hey, Coach Joe has sent you over an automated message welcoming you to the app, but go ahead and reply to it because it's literally me in front of my computer 24/7. Just let me know that you're on the app for the first time because I'm going to tell you to go watch these videos next that's on your training plan that's going to talk about everything specifically as Coach Mark makes the workouts, as Coach Katrina makes the meal plan. That way, when those are all pieces in place are finished, right? I can then review everything, create a personalized Loom video to send over to that client, and then explain the next steps for them, which is simply, hey, make sure you're watching these videos, right? Here's how the meal plan works. Here's how the workouts work. Here's how to use the app. The next steps is to set up an onboarding call with Coach Mark to go over specifically how to use the app for best results. That way, hey, if you're somebody that's not tech savvy, like you're still going to have success. It's the inevitable, all right? As long as you show up. So Alan completes all that, right? I go through the process. He gets started, right? This past week, yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing. Alan yesterday hopped on the Zoom chat, and I was super, super happy. Like, I think it was last week on Flex Friday. Most people, right, they post a photo of themselves flexing, right? Like a nice little photo, right? Maybe they get the kids involved. It's great. Alan just gets in there just like shirt off and everything, like flexing. I'm like, holy cow. Like, this guy didn't look like this when he sent me over his photos when we were first talking about him getting signed up for coach. I'm like, what happened these past 2 weeks, right? Like, what happened? And he was just following through with everything that we talked about. But that's not why I'm telling you guys this story. I'm telling you guys this story is because on our call, if you don't remember, I just said, right, when I was in Colorado freezing, he said how I'm not big into like community. I'm just tell me what I need to do. I'm gonna have success. Just I'll implement it, right? But like I'm not. It pushes me outside my comfort zone, right? Like I don't know, right? And I'm sure some of you guys right now are pretty much the same as Alan, okay? Where it's like, yeah, like maybe you don't feel like you need that support and you don't feel like you need that sense of community, whatever the case may be. You just want to show up and get results. And that's okay. But I told Alan, like, there's always going to be, two types of people that join our coaching program. Person A joins in, follows through the meal plans, workouts, check-ins, get great results, right? Get great results. Person B, right? This person dives in head first. They're open-minded. They engage with the client, the coaches constantly, like the good, the bad, the ugly. They let us know when we need to make adjustments, how to, everything, right? But also, lastly, they engage inside the community group. And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to shifting your identity. Les Brown said it best, birds of a feather flock together. If you hang around with losers, you're going to become a loser your whole life. If you come hang around with winners, guess what? You're going to become a winner. Inside of our community group, there is nothing but winners. Trust me. So with that being said, we always tell everybody, engage inside the community groups. Why? Well, most people fail at reaching their health and fitness goals is because they're all on the island all by themselves. They don't know what to do. They think they do, but they really don't. Right? They're just trying to, find this information for free on YouTube or Google, but Google can't tell you how to fix your metabolism. Google can't tell you how to, work out your body type specifically with a schedule that's flexible for your goals and also your lifestyle, right? Like Google just can't do that. It's going to give recommendations, but you kind of have to figure out the missing piece of the puzzle. Me and the coaches, we just do all that so that way people don't have to worry about that. And they just go through, instead of wasting time, they'd rather exchange some money to, maybe avoid the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, these types of things, right? They want to have more energy like now. They don't want to trial and error for years on their own. Okay. So back to the Zoom chat. Alan's on there. And I'm like a kid in the candy shop right now because, just this past week before that, he posts inside the community group of him flexing with the shirt off, right? Seeing his abs. And I'm like, man, Alan told me, like, this is completely left field for him. Like, he's like, that's just not going to be me. And then here he is on the Zoom chat. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Right? And so I'm asking Alan, and I said, Alan, I just want to say I'm proud of you, brother, right? For really just, participating, right, inside the community group, for showing up. Here you are in the Zoom chat, brother. How can we serve you, right? And he went on to this little conversation. I think it's very, very inspiring for most people to hear. He said, you know what? When I first got signed up for your coaching program, Joe, I told you, right? Like, engaging inside of community groups, like, that's not really my thing, right? Totally understandable. And he goes around, kind of telling everybody his story, right? His past, which is awesome because now he's feeling, trustworthy with all the other members, right? The support, right? The loyalty and everything like that, the accountability also. But then he said he had just a shift. Something happened in the course of, his 2 weeks of prep before he got started with, day one of coaching, or his first week, I should say, of coaching officially. Something happened. Maybe it was, I don't know, one of the videos, maybe it was one of the podcasts. Something happened where Alan just decided where, hey, he doesn't want to be a V6. He wants to be a V12, right? He doesn't want to run on 6 cylinders anymore. He wants to run on 12 cylinders. He wants to take himself to the next level, to really change and transform, to become the 2.0 version of himself, mentally and physically. And something happened. Maybe I said something in a podcast. Maybe I said something in a video. Maybe, I don't know, somebody inside the community group. And this is why we always encourage our members, wins, right? Big or small. I want to see everybody sharing wins. And if you are a Heartletics member and you're listening to this episode right now, you woke up today, you're alive. Let's share that inside the community group. That's your CTA. That's your call to action, man. Right? Go into the community group on the app and just say, I'm grateful that I'm alive today. Because that's a win. And when people celebrate their wins, it's starting to spark these little fires in all these other people where they want to share their wins as well. Big, small, it doesn't matter, right? When you have a community group that's filled with just inspiration, support, positivity, right? All these wins, it's on fire. It's amazing, right? It makes me want to start doing push-ups and sit-ups, just seeing all these wins, right? It makes me feel great. But here's also why the community group is even better. Because when out of the blue, somebody posts that they're struggling and that they need help and, they've fallen off track, guess what? They get all the love. They get all the support. They get all the accountability just like that, right? We're there for, it's a Heartletics family, I should say. We're there for the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially the ugly. And that's why we always tell people, if you want to be successful inside of our coaching program, the cheat code to doing that is just engage inside these community groups. Your identity will shift, hands down. It's going to become the inevitable where you're going to start seeing physical changes. Why? Because you start changing who you were mentally. So back to Alan. He talks about, hey, guys, I'm here to upgrade my body, my mind, right? Become from 6-cylinder to a 12-cylinder, I want to become this 2.0 version of myself. And he said something that really hit home. And I even asked him, like, dude, let me share that on podcast because we're talking about this anyways. This, I hope, is just that little flick of the switch for you, okay? And then trust me, we're going to get into that number one tip on how to really change your life. I know, right? Edge of your seat, suspenseful. Almost 20 minutes into this episode, we haven't even talked about it yet. But you can see, right, we're building up a reason why, okay? So Alan said this. He said, something happened where I realize now I don't want to continue to look in the rearview mirror when I have this big windshield in front of me. And I want you guys to understand that's your life. Which direction are you looking? Are you looking through the rearview mirror and constantly looking about your past and, oh, this happened to me, so I can't be successful. Oh, I was on blood pressure meds, so I can't be, healthy anymore. oh, I was, 30% body fat, 40% body fat, so I can never be 15% body fat. What are the lies that you're telling yourself that's in this rearview mirror, right? Like, think about it. I got chicken legs. I wasn't born with calves at all, right? Insecurity. I admit it. I make fun of myself. Hey, at the end of the day, guess what? I have a great life. I love myself. I'm very selfish. You think I really care about my chicken legs? Absolutely not. But you think also, like, hey, I got these chicken legs. So, hey, I'm just going to accept defeat and never train my legs, never train my calves ever again. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, I literally do calf raises every day. I train my legs hard twice a week, right? But do you think I'm just going to give up? No, of course not. But why are you guys giving up? That's the question, right? I hear it from guys all the time too about genetics. Oh, Joe, this is hereditary. This is why I'm on blood pressure, high cholesterol. BS, right? Look up the facts about genetics. Genetics only adhere to anywhere from, let's say, 20 to 30%. If we take the max 30% of this being all because of genetics, well, hate to, break it to you, brother, but 70% is all on you. And obviously, I failed in math, right? But I'm pretty sure 70% is a lot more in your favor than 30%. So that 70% that's all in your destiny, what are you going to start doing to get a better outcome? Are you going to utilize, right, your past pain to push you to greatness, or are you going to accept defeat? Plain and simple. Alan realized that. He stepped outside of his comfort zone, right? He realized here that he needed to make a change, right? He realized here that he wanted to stop, right, looking in the rearview mirror and just start looking into the windshield. And he's changing so much, so quickly because of that small shift, right, of just engaging inside the community groups. And hear me out, right? Heartletics members that's listening to this right now. You want success. You want to truly change and transform your life. Go above and beyond. Treat the community groups, right? Like, hey, this is your brotherhood. These are the coaches that care. These are your family members. Like, tell us the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, engage with all the other members. Stop sitting on the sidelines because I want you to be successful. Now, 22 minutes in, let's get to our number one tip on how to change and transform your life. That I promise you, the celebrities out there like The Rock, right? Your favorite athletes, right? Like all these guys that has past pain and stress in their life, just like how you have past pain and stress in your life too. What do they do differently, right, than what you do? They utilize the past by rewriting the story. Everybody has a story. Your life is a story, but some of you guys keep on reading the same damn chapter every single day, right? I wake up, I tell myself my story, right? My affirmations, my morning routine, everything like that, right? I'm not saying you guys need to do that at all. I just like sharing my personal experience on what works for me. But here's the thing. Some of you guys wake up with the same routine that it's been like the past 5, 10, 15 years. Hitting the snooze button, right? Maybe multiple times, rushing around to get your clothes and getting ready for work, out the door, right? Not eating anything. And then next thing you know, right? As lunchtime comes, you're dead tired, you're hungry, you go get some fast food, 2, 3 o'clock hits, you need an energy drink or a cup of coffee, you go home, you're dead tired, right? No energy to play with the kids, and that's your life. But here's the thing. You can rewrite the story. Here's exactly how you rewrite the story, right? You need to literally change the story that you continue to tell yourself. So remember I said that, I'm going to say something at the end of this podcast that's probably going to trigger you. I wrote something, right? And this isn't true at all, okay? This is not like a client that got signed up for coaching told me this. No, I made this up. But here's the thing. I want you to realize that this could definitely be you. And I want these mental flips, right? Switches to start flipping up to realize now's the time to wake up. Now's the time to make myself a priority once and for all. So I'll put it to you like this as I'm reading my notes here, okay? Let's put yourself in today's situation and let's just fast forward 10 years, right, down the road. So let's say you're 45, right? We train a lot of guys in their 40s to 60s. Let's say you're 45 years old. And let's say 10 years from now, you're going to be 55 years old. Well, there's going to be two stories, right, that you're going to be telling yourself at 55 years old. So I'll put it to you like this, right? And trust me, this is going to trigger you, but I really hope this, once again, hits home with some of you guys where you wake up and start seeing how differently things can be based on your one simple decision that you choose on how do you live your life, okay? So here's the two outcomes. Let's say that person A decides to continue to not care about their life anymore, okay? And they're 45 years old, and in 10 years at 55 years old, I bet you anything that they're going to be saying this, right? Quote, "My health has gotten worse. When the doctor told me I had a type 2 diabetes, I should have listened and started making a change. It seemed like no matter what I did, it only got harder and harder for me. I always tried to stick with a diet or cutting out my carbs, but it seemed like it could never work for me. It was just, way too hard to follow long term because I would always fall off the wagon. I honestly wished that was the hardest part, but it's not. My wife has left me for somebody who is a lot happier, fun to be around, more confidence, more ambitious, and just overall a better man. My kids still to this day follow with my unhealthy habits, and I hate seeing them cry and be picked on because of their weight issues. I just wish my family was back together. I just wish I could go back and redo it all and do something differently this go around." Let that sink in, right? So this is an individual, let's just say 45 years old, right? They're looking in the future, 10 years into the future, and they continue to still go through their life not making any changes. Did you hear how deep that was? Like the guy's wife left him. His kids are getting picked on and made fun of because of their issues, right? His diabetes got worse. I think I forgot to say that. Yeah, I actually forgot to say that. I only wish the hardest part about all of this was my legs getting amputated because of my type 2 diabetes. But sadly, it's not. The worst part is the fact that my wife has left me and my kids also follow through my unhealthy habits and they get picked on and made fun of in school. Think about that. Let that sink in. Now, let's rewrite the story. Okay? Let's put a positive twist on it. Okay? Here's what's going to happen if someone's 45 years old, they decide to prioritize their life. Here's what could possibly happen in the next 10 years when they're 55. Quote, totally different story, and this is really going to hit home with you, some of you guys. "I didn't prioritize my health after getting married and having kids. Then I got type 2 diabetes and suffered big time with not having any energy to play with my kids or even having confidence in my clothes. But one day I looked myself in the mirror and I said enough is enough and started to prioritize my health again. I started following with all the tips that Coach Joe talks about on his amazing podcast where every day he's inspiring millions of people. Simple things like walking more, eating more protein, drinking plenty of water really helped me gain control of my life again as I started to feel a lot better and happier, seeing my health improve. I'm just so happy I went through such a horrible past with my health, having type 2 diabetes, having high blood pressure, having high cholesterol, but I started doing the right things, and I'm so happy I did. It's an amazing feeling having push-up challenges with my boys every night, right? And really just being happy knowing that my entire household is following through with healthy habits together. I'm so happy that I decided to utilize my past pain to push me to have better future success. Two different outcomes. One person's past pain, right? Push them to greatness, as you can tell. They're inspiring their family. They're doing push-ups and sit-ups with their kids in great health, great sex life, obviously with more energy, more testosterone, right? More stamina. And one person is a below-knee amputee and they got a divorce. Why? One person decided to start waking up, prioritizing their health once and for all. So at the end of the day, guys, we're wrapping things up here. It's up to you, your decision. Everything is completely up to you. And the call to action is, what is your story? What is the past pain that you want to get over? And how can you utilize that past pain for actually inspiration for others that might also be struggling? So, guys, I really hope that you guys got some value, and I really hope that something sinks in differently this go around after hearing today's episode. And if you got any value at all, please do me a favor and share it on maybe your Facebook page or with a loved one. With that being said, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scout.